Don't you want to look at the Grand Canyon?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most popular tourist attractions from around the world that are actually pretty darn bad.
What's your biggest disappointment?
Alton Towers.
Oh, I've never been.
It's rubbish. Next.
Number 20, Checkpoint Charlie, Berlin, Germany.
May I suggest the Clinical Bridge as a place of a swap?
Why not Checkpoint Charlie?
We're not looking for publicity.
Once a tense Cold War border crossing is now basically a photo op with a fake guard shack and some guys in costumes who'll pose for €5. In its day, Checkpoint Charlie was the epicenter of espionage drama, dramatic escape attempts, and international standoffs. Today, it's surrounded by tourist-trapped souvenir shops selling quote-unquote authentic chunks of the Berlin Wall. They're definitely not just painted slabs of concrete. As for the site of the checkpoint itself, it's a sad little hut plopped between a McDonald's and a KFC in the middle of a bustling modern metropolis. Kinda dampens the Cold War vibes, you know? Tourists expecting an awe-inspiring historical monument often leave wondering if they accidentally visited a cheap Cold War gift shop instead.
Не стыдно тебе, шкура продажная? Позор.
Like the old days at Checkpoint Charlie.
Number 19, Fisherman's Wharf, San Francisco, United States.
The city and port in San Francisco are about to give Fisherman's Wharf a $10 million facelift in hopes of drawing visitors back to the area.
For those expecting a cute little fishing port, avoid Fisherman's Wharf like you would fish from a polluted river. It's the kind of place that sounds charming until you get there and realize it's basically an outdoor shopping mall with a kitschy seafood theme. Yes, there are actual fishermen somewhere in the vicinity, but you're more likely to encounter people selling overpriced crab cakes than hauling nets. And the historic vibe is drowned out by souvenir shops peddling San Francisco hoodies. Street performers are everywhere, and you'll be lucky to survive a lunch without battling a horde of hungry seagulls. Plus, with modern economic hardships, the wharf is a sketchy shell of what it used to be.
When you take a stroll down Fisherman's Wharf, it's hard to miss. Many businesses closed, for lease signs on the windows, nothing but memories left.
Number 18, Blackpool, Blackpool, England.
Fun in the sun in Blackpool, but not everything is as rosy as it seems.
Considered Britain's Las Vegas, Blackpool is found on the west coast of England and was once a thriving seaside resort. However, it's currently struggling with enormous economic hardship, resulting in visible neglect, run-down buildings, and limited investment in modern attractions. The famous Blackpool Tower and Pleasure Beach still draw visitors, but many feel the offerings are outdated compared to newer and cleaner resorts in the UK. Dodgy accommodations and kitschy shops are everywhere, making the daytime feel somewhat dingy. And by night, Blackpool becomes a drunken, rowdy carnival, which can greatly put off families with children. While the town definitely has nostalgic charm for some, it's now mostly associated with cheap entertainment and faded glamour. It's a relic of a bygone era.
You're far more likely to die younger and have a worse quality of health here than anywhere else in England, with life expectancy rates the lowest of anywhere in the country.
It's dire here in Blackpool, it really is.
Number 17, Las Vegas, Las Vegas, United States.
Oh, there's blackjack and poker and the roulette wheel. A fortune won and lost on every deal. All you need is strong heart and a nerve steel.
Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas!
Let's just say you have to be in the right mood for Vegas. And if you're not in that mood, Vegas can be hell on earth. It's mind-meltingly hot in the summer, and you never get a break from the stimulation. The Strip's flashing lights and over-the-top architecture promise glamour, but mostly just deliver on the headache. The noise is unending between the bustling streets and ear-piercing slot machines. Crowds are massive, prices for food, drinks, and shows are outrageous. And yeah, gambling in those world-famous casinos is fun at first, but the novelty quickly wears off, and you know what they say, the house always wins. Still, if you are in the right mood for it, there's no other place on earth like Vegas.
I can't believe it. I've lost $300 in 15 minutes.
Number 16, Trevi Fountain, Rome, Italy.
If you throw a coin into the pool, you're supposed to get your wish. Only the wish must always be the same thing, that you return again to Rome.
I've tossed a coin into the fountain every April for the last
15 years. It's my spring ritual. It's time to throw one in again.
Everyone wants to see Trevi Fountain while they're in Rome. The problem is, everyone wants to see Trevi Fountain while they're in Rome. Its romantic image in films and postcards contrasts sharply with the reality of the site. The fountain itself is crammed into a small piazza, leaving little room to take in its scale, and the crowds are simply unbelievable. On any given day, day or night, hundreds of people jostle for space, making it nearly impossible to enjoy a peaceful view or even get a clear photo. The surrounding area is no better, as it caters heavily to tourists with overpriced gelato shops and souvenir stalls, which only adds to the feeling of disappointing commercialization.
Wow, it hasn't changed in 1,000 years. Okay, everyone, into the fountain.
Number 15. The Pyramids, Cairo, Egypt.
We could cross off 2 items. See the pyramids and witness something majestic. This is about as majestic as it gets.
Don't get us wrong, the pyramids themselves are magical. It's the experience of seeing them that proves to be a problem. Movies and pop culture often depict the pyramids as being in the middle of some vast desert atmosphere with sweeping solitude. In reality, you're dodging camel vendors, thousands of people with selfie sticks, and inexplicably loud tour buses arriving every 10 minutes to drop off another batch of tourists. And that's to say nothing of Cairo itself being right next door, like it's literally right there. You can gaze at the pyramids and then turn your head and see the local Pizza Hut. By the time you leave, you'll be sweaty, sandy, and sunburnt, and that's just how we love it.
I follow in the footsteps of Alexander the Great and Caesar as I have been sent to liberate Egypt. I have 40,000 men, and the sights are wondrous, and the weather stifling hot.
Number 14. Plymouth Rock, Plymouth, United States.
The story of Plymouth Rock is that they pulled their boat right up next to that rock in 1620. They got off the boat, they got onto the rock, they get off the rock, they get onto the beach. Whether or not it happened, it's hard to say for sure.
Plymouth Rock is the tourism equivalent of meeting your childhood hero and getting yelled at. Supposedly the landing spot of the Mayflower Pilgrims in 1620, the little rock now sits imprisoned in a stone cage. Gorgeous. Centuries of hype have made visitors expect something monumental, maybe a dramatic cliff, or at least some huge boulder that could flatten a sedan. But nope, it's just a little rock. When you see it, you'll be shrugging your shoulders and saying, yep, that's a rock all right. But hey, it's a symbol, and symbols are important. Just don't expect cinematic grandeur, because you're certainly not going to get it.
The real importance of the rock doesn't matter how big it is, and it doesn't matter whether or not they stepped on it, because the real importance of the rock is that rock as a symbol. And people have to decide for themselves what Plymouth Rock means to them. And when people leave here, that's our goal, is to get people looking at the rock not just as a rock, but looking at it symbolically.
Number 13. Stonehenge, Wiltshire, England.
Well, this is the piece.
This is the piece?
Yes.
Are you telling me that this is it? This is scenery? Have you ever been to Stonehenge?
No, I haven't been to Stonehenge.
The triptychs are 20 feet high. You can stand 4 men up them.
Yeah.
Speaking of disappointing rocks, Stonehenge, like the pyramids, the structure itself is magnificent, but it's not really worth going out of your way to see. Visitors make the pilgrimage expecting mystical druid vibes, only to discover it's just some big stones in the middle of a field. Maybe it would be different if you could actually stand in the middle of it, but ropes keep you at a very polite British distance. And on drizzly, windy days, so most days in England, you'll spend more time wrestling with your umbrella than contemplating ancient mysteries. Sure, it's historically important, but after about 5 minutes of, neat, you're left wondering if the builders went through all that trouble just to prank future tourists.
Built to stand the test of time and the elements, war, you name it. A thing of glory for 1 million future generations to see. And we were here.
Number 12, Dubai. Dubai, United Arab Emirates.
I don't care what you have to do to get him to Dubai. I'll make it worth his while. Just do it.
Don't let the movies and Instagram influencers fool you. Dubai is not worth it. The city is often hyped as some kind of futuristic playground, with world-class amusement parks and stellar skyscrapers. In reality, it's basically a glitzy shopping mall in the middle of the desert. Step outside in summer, and you'll experience a heat so intense you'd think you were standing on the sun. So you're forced inside. where much of the sightseeing boils down to malls and towers you pay a small fortune to enter. There's no authentic culture to be found here. It's just shallow consumerism, artificial beaches, and soulless attractions. Visiting Dubai is a surreal experience, like living inside of a dream, just not in a good way.
Okay, now remember, it's a rolling off motion that disengages the bond. When the meter is blue, that's full adhesion. Easy way to remember, blue is glue. And when it's red, dead.
Number 11, Times Square, New York City, United States.
Okay, you know what? Drop the violin. 6. Okay, let's take a beat here. Where are we right now? Where are we?
Times Square.
Times Square, Big Apple. Taking a big bite out of it.
Times Square is probably worth the visit if you're already in New York, but don't expect a good time if huge crowds, loud noises, and bright lights aren't your thing. The experience is mostly standing shoulder to shoulder with thousands of strangers, each of whom are jostling for a photo, while a guy in a cheap Spider-Man costume demands a tip for photobombing you, while cars honk incessantly, while neon ads blare from above, while you slip on someone's hot dog wrapper, while someone tries handing you a flyer for their free comedy show. Yeah, it's sensory overload to the max. And the neon ads aren't even for cool stuff. They're mostly insurance companies and chain restaurants you could visit anywhere.
Heinz. The only ketchup. Imagine this, 40 feet tall in Times Square.
Number 10, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Los Angeles, United States.
When visitors hit LA for the first time, they always seem to end up on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Now, it may be a popular tourist site, but it's got a notorious rep. A new survey calls it the worst tourist attraction in the world.
You travel to the Hollywood Walk of Fame expecting the glitz and the glamour of the movie industry. But instead of red carpets, you get thousands of gum stains, many suspicious puddles, and the occasional Iron Man. The stars themselves are also quite disappointing, as they're just small brass plaques embedded in the sidewalk. Half the names you won't even recognize, and the popular ones will be surrounded by tourists, so you won't even get a good look. To make things worse, the walk stretches for over a mile, so if you want to see them all, prepare for a marathon past endless vape shops and kitschy souvenir stores. And watch your step, or you'll trip over the tourists laying on the ground taking selfies.
According to the survey and TripAdvisor, people describe the 15-block-long Walk of Fame and the characters and superheroes that come with it as, quote, completely underwhelming, so disappointing, unsafe, overcrowded, feeling like they're in a tourist trap, and simply meh.
Number 9, Niagara Falls, Niagara Falls, Canada.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What is your destination in Canada?
Niagara Falls.
If you want to see Niagara Falls, you have to go in the off-season. Going in the middle of summer is just out of the question. The traffic and crowds are simply ridiculous, with thousands upon thousands of people cramming into every nook and cranny trying to catch a glimpse. Parking is impossible, so don't even try. And the sticky Ontario humidity only adds to the frustration. And it's not like they conserved the falls in a beautiful natural oasis. No, they turned the nearby vicinity into Vegas light, with countless tourist traps, sketchy pawn shops, and tacky amusements like Clifton Hill. If you're a nature lover just trying to enjoy the grandeur, stay well clear. There is little for you here.
12 million people a year visit Niagara Falls.
Do they?
I just want them all to get in Jeremy's way, but not ours.
Number 8, the French Quarter, New Orleans, United States. When people think of this admittedly beautiful area of New Orleans, they think of jazz music, a sense of theatricality, people coming together to revel in the streets, and of course, Mardi Gras. Sadly, the popularity of the French Quarter has largely robbed this iconic destination of both its charms and its authenticity. Wandering the French Quarter, you're unlikely to encounter any locals unless they're serving you at a bar. It's like spring break, but decidedly more middle-aged and in uncomfortable, cramped quarters. It's hard to find a good meal that isn't ridiculously overpriced, and if you're there for music, you're better off venturing into one of the neighboring areas like Marigny, where you can actually find up-and-coming acts at watering holes still frequented by locals. The architecture, thankfully, remains just as beautiful as advertised. Number 7, Hobbiton Movie Set, Matamata, New Zealand. There are few fantasy worlds that have been brought to life on film quite as spectacularly as Peter Jackson managed to do for Middle-earth with his adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. Sadly, like so many fantasies, The Hobbiton set is undermined by real-world limitations. The overall design is undeniably fantastic, so visitors who know how to manage their expectations will likely have a great time. That being said, paying $80 to $90 for a one-hour tour is steep, and unfortunately, there's no real opportunity for exploration, as the tours are guided and move very quickly. And for many, passing through Hobbiton at a hurried pace makes for a rather painful tease. But who are we kidding? For superfans, it likely still remains a must-visit. Number 6. Champs-Élysées, Paris, France. Ah, les Champs-Élysées. It's the stuff of songs and many a romantic fantasy. The avenue appears on the checklists of must-visit areas of Paris for pretty much every first-time visitor to the city of romance. While Paris is a city famous for its green space, you won't find much of it along this world-famous shopping street. Don't get us wrong, the tree-lined avenue makes for a beautiful photograph, especially with the Arc de Triomphe serving as a colossal focal point at one end. But walk up and down the Avenue des Champs-Élysées, and you'll find little else but major retailers like Banana Republic, The Gap, and Lacoste, while the sidewalk itself is crowded with souvenir vendors hawking overpriced plastic Eiffel Towers. Number 5. The Blarney Stone, Blarney, Ireland. Are you in search of the gift of gab? Well, you're probably better off downloading a language learning app or signing up for a public speaking course. Something tells us that kissing this rock isn't going to suddenly make you eloquent, clever, or the world's greatest flatterer. Regardless, this world-famous stone, which is set into the battlements of its namesake castle, continues to draw people from around the world as it has for ages. Concerns of sanitation aside, the biggest gripe that visitors have with the experience is that, well, you're just kissing a rock. That's it. The castle itself is perfectly nice and might provide added appeal to architecture enthusiasts, but there's just not a lot going on here. Number 4. Rainbow Mountain, Cusco, Peru. Duped by Instagram yet again. With the right lighting conditions, some editing, and some handy filters, the Montaña de Siete Colores, or Vinicuna, lives up to its name. And to be fair, even in person, most visitors will agree that the lines of color that decorate this Peruvian mountain make for a unique sight. The issue is that, unless you happen to visit at the perfect time of day, in August, and when there hasn't been any recent precipitation, the colors are unlikely to come anywhere close to the vibrant hues that you've been obsessed over online. And it's not a very easy trip, requiring long drives and lengthy hikes. And if bad weather rolls in, tough luck. Even under good conditions, many visitors voice disappointment with the sight that greets them. Number 3. Mount Rushmore, South Dakota, United States. When you gaze upon Mount Rushmore, you're immediately struck by what an impressive feat it is to have carved the likenesses of Presidents Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln into the side of a mountain. But once the initial impact wears off, one can't help but be somewhat underwhelmed by the actual size of the sculptures. Don't get us wrong, a 60-foot-tall head is impressive, but Mount Rushmore is hurt by its own reputation. Photos of Mount Rushmore provide very little by which to judge the scale of the heads, and unfortunately, most visitors don't realize how much they've exaggerated the size of these presidents in their minds until they see the sculpture for themselves. Number 2. Loch Ness, the Highlands, Scotland. Spoiler, you're not going to randomly have an encounter with the legendary Loch Ness monster. And once you've accepted that reality, what you're left with is an admittedly pretty lake, but one whose local legend has resulted in inflated prices of pretty much every service in the area and a whole lot of tourist-centric merchandising and theming, which, unless you're a serious Nessie fan, is likely to leave you feeling let down. You're unlikely to make a trip to Scotland just to visit Loch Ness, and once you get there and realize that the lake is actually pretty far out of your way, and that you've forfeited a day of your trip that could have been better spent elsewhere in this culturally rich nation, no amount of cheap souvenirs will make up for that time. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. The Mona Lisa, Paris, France. To call the Louvre overrated would just be wrong. Sure, the lines are absurdly long, but once you make it in, you get to see some of the world's most famous and stirring works of art. Sadly, though, one of the most iconic pieces in the collection has become a frequent source of disappointment due to its modest size. Despite its colossal artistic reputation, the Mona Lisa is quite small and occupies relatively little wall space. Size isn't everything, but the massive crowd perpetually gathered around it makes the painting feel even smaller, and perhaps not worth fighting through to see. In 2019, one survey of British travelers reported that, according to responders, the Mona Lisa was, quote, the world's most disappointing tourist attraction. Have you been to any of these places? What did you think? Let us know in the comments below.
No, I actually think it's a good attraction.